establish quorum. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay. And then turn the video on too. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Wesley Hawkins Sr. Blaine Little Thunder.
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse.
Here.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.
Here.
Gerald Canoyer Jr. Austin Watkins Sr. Tyler Yellowboy.
Present.
Wendell Youngman Jr.
Present.
Ron DeBray is excused. James Cross.
Here.
Ella Giancarlo.
Here.
George Dreamer Jr. is excused. Jillian Spotted Bear. Richard Ironcloud.
Here.
David Poolier is excused. Sonia Little Hawk Weston.
Here.
Jackie Sears.
Here.
Michael Carlos Sr.
Present.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.
Here.
Garfield Still.
Here.
Craig Dillon.
Here.
Okay. Council, we have a quorum, 16 members present, 2 absent, and 3 excused. Thank you, Council. Councilman Ironclad, would you mind doing the prayer? Thank you.
Atakashila atewa kantankale.
when so many other people are people out there that are suffering, you know, we need to keep that in mind when we're making the decisions that we are making in this circle. We only have so many months left in this administration, so we need to keep moving forward. And we need to quit looking back. We need to try to work together and to try to accomplish the things that we said we would accomplish. We know that there's going to be times when we're not going to always agree, but I think that we still need to know that, you know, we have to be in the circle that our people put us in here to do. So I just wanted to say that much, Mr. President, and I want to, you know, thank the council today for coming together and to staying focused on the things we need to stay focused on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Appreciate your words and, you know, just the condolences as well. Councilman Carl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This morning I talked to members of the Wakwamni District and members of the Pine Ridge Village, and you know, we lost 2 members of our districts just in the last couple of days here. Miss Lucy Battalion, you know, she worked at the Pine Ridge High School and she was loved by all the students and the staff. And you know, it's sad that the Big Crow family has gone through so much tragic loss in the last year. And our Twist's son, Jared Twist, you know, I asked that the council, you know, remember them in their prayers today, and that we reach out to those families if there's any type of help, assistance, prayers, you know, just help these families that are going through this really, really tough year in the loss of so many loved ones in the Big Crow family. So I ask the council, you know, please put them in your prayers today.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. And definitely, you know, it's a good reminder to just, you know, pay attention to our relatives and, you know, just offer our condolences and make sure that, you know, we just check in on one another. It's kind of a hard time, especially when you lose, you know, you have losses like that back to back to back in different families. And, you know, again, just prayers for everyone who are losing people or in the hospital. And it's one of the reasons why we try to open up with prayers, so that we always, you know, constantly remind ourselves of, you know, who we're working for and all that, and have those words of encouragement. So, yeah, so thank you, Councilwoman and Councilman. Appreciate both of you for offering those words. So I guess moving forward, we'll start where we left off yesterday, and I think that was with Education Committee. I think Vice Chair Knoyer isn't here, but we were in the middle of looking. I think it was item A. If you look at your packets, it was passed out. It says Education Committee 2/3 items, and I believe it was the first one that was read. And we were in the middle of a motion, and I think you still have that, Stace, from yesterday. That motion. I think, oh, go ahead, Councilman Yelboy.
I was just gonna have the secretary reread that motion.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for right now, so. Before we read, is there any questions on that? So you could read the motion, Secretary. Yeah, the motion.
Okay, the motion was made by Gerald Knoyer Jr. and seconded by Julian Spotted Bear, that it was a resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council requesting the Bureau of Indian Education to clarify the specific items in 25 CSR that were included in the Bureau of Indian Education waiver granted with the date is blank, and specifically for the number of instructional hours considered in the full-time educational program. and he did read the resolution. Do you want me to read it again?
It's up to council, I guess, not as he had, I mean, it was read yesterday, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that was the only thing missing was the date and the heading.
So are there other questions on this, or should we just hold off until we get that date? Just, okay, hold on, state. But the other resolutions, I think, are gonna be, is there anybody, or you guess the secretary can read that? Do you wanna read those other two? That, since Gerald isn't here?
Yeah.
Yeah, those other two. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Okay, for the record, be school year 21, 22, so good. Okay, any other questions on this resolution? Okay, so again, yesterday we left off after reading it. I think Vice Chair Canoyer Jr. read it yesterday. So it's on record, and that's where we left off. So the secretary's gonna do the vote. Okay, secretary, we're gonna read that vote. Oh, go ahead, Councilwoman.
The title that you read is different than the title on the resolution. And the title on the resolution does include the school year.
I think it was, did you get the 2/3 packet?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What was the one that you read? This one? Yeah. Is that one? Yeah. Is that one? Yeah. Yeah, it does have that. Oh yeah, it does have that year on it, so. This one stays. Okay. Oh, he's on now. Okay. Okay. So we recognize Vice Chair Canoyer at 11:22, and Councilwoman Spotted Bear is in the meeting at 11:10. Councilman or Vice Chair Canoyer, are you there?
Oh,
Okay. So we're trying to figure out which one was read yesterday. Which resolution you read yesterday, and you don't have that with you, do you?
Chair,
What, Councilman Yellowboy?
I think for the record, maybe we should just have the secretary read the one that's in the 2/3 packet, so that way we know which
Okay.
one we're voting on.
Okay, that's fine.
So, just a recommendation.
Chair, also, it was the first resolution of the three that was read yesterday.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. So,
Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe supporting regulatory waivers for all Bureau of Indian Education funded schools on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation for certain Title 25 requirements, including instructional requirements for the 2021-2022 school year due to COVID-19 pandemic, and support regulatory waivers for other schools on the reservation. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe has adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December, that should be 14, not 10, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123, and under Article 3, subsection 1 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas the Tribal Constitution authorizes the Tribal Council in Article 4, Sections 1F to to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux tribe. And whereas due to the COVID-19 pandemic, school closures and shelter-in-place ordinance, Bureau of Indian Education VIE-funded schools will be unable to meet certain Title 25 regulatory requirements applicable to school year 2021 through 2022. And whereas other non-BIE-funded schools on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation that predominantly serve Oglala Sioux tribe students may not be able to meet their regulatory requirements. And whereas failure to meet such regulatory requirements would usually reduce Indian School Equalization Program, ISEP, funding provided for the following school year and severely impact the quality of education provided to students at the BIE-funded schools. And whereas due to the extraordinary circumstances of COVID-19 pandemic, the Department of Interior Assistant Secretary Interior Affairs, ASHA, granted a waiver for school year 2019 through 2020 and 2020 through 2021. Whereas the extraordinary circumstances has continued throughout the 2021-2022 school year for the Pine Ridge Reservation and has affected the ability of the schools on the reservation to meet the educational and instructional hours requirements due to the continued shelter in place and limited in-person schooling and school closures due to outbreaks. And whereas the Department of Interior, ASIA, issued a letter to school leaders on June 25th, 2020, notifying schools of the waiver application requirements for the school year 2021 through 2022. And whereas it is imperative that all of the BIE-funded schools on the reservation be granted such regulatory waivers that include instructional hours requirements for the school year 2021 through 2022. And whereas the Regional Associate Director of the Bureau of Indian Education in Minneapolis, Minnesota, has informed the tribally controlled schools on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation that they did not meet the instructional hours as required by the BIE, when in fact the waiver was to have covered all requirements. And whereas by motion and vote on April 25th, 2022, the Education Committee approved supporting all BIE-funded schools on the reservation in their regulatory waiver requests, including instructional hour requirements, and approved other non-BIE-funded school on their regulatory waivers, and recommends Tribal Council approval and support. And whereas the Tribal Council agrees with the foregoing recommendation of the Education Committee and has determined that it is in the best interest of the Oglala Sioux tribe to adopt this resolution supporting regulatory waivers, including instructional hour requirements for all BIE-funded schools and non-BIE-funded schools on the reservation. Now therefore be it resolved, the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux tribe hereby states its support of regulatory waivers for school year 2021 through 2022, including the requirements for instructional hours for all Bureau of Indian Education funded schools on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in their request for regulatory waivers of certain Title 25 regulatory requirements for the 2021 through 2022 school year due to the continued impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Certification.
Okay. So again, the motion was made by Vice Chair Canoyer, seconded by Councilwoman Spotted Bear. For the record, as read. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, Secretary, will you call the vote, please? Thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha,
Jackie Sears,
Oh, huh.
Michael Carlos Sr.,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr., Garfield Still,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Council, that passes 18-4. We're not voting. Thank you, Council. Councilman or Vice Chair Canoyer, do you want to read the next item, the other 2/3 packet?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
I don't have them in order, but this one is the Facilities Management Division ordinance.
Okay. Yeah, that is the second one. So go ahead. And
Okay.
read that.
Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, an unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council requesting approval from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Facilities Management Division to approve reimbursements on the additional project expenditures on the Crazy Horse School kitchen floor project. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe has adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 10th, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C., subsection 476, and under Article 3, subsection 1 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and whereas the Tribal Constitution authorizes the Tribal Council in Article 4, Section 1F to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and whereas Crazy Horse School was approved for renovation funding to repair the kitchen floor that has been in need of emergency repairs, and whereas the renovation work on the kitchen floor repair was started, and as the work progressed, it discovered that there were more repairs that needed to be completed in order to meet the safety standards set by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And the school has gone ahead and paid for these additional repairs and needed replacements with school money. And whereas Crazy Horse School had requested reimbursement from the Bureau of Indian Affairs to these additional repair replacement costs that were not originally approved in the original kitchen floor repair replacement, and whereas the Bureau of Indian Affairs had disapproved Crazy Horse School's request for the reimbursements for the additional repair and replacements because they were not included in the original approved project. And whereas the additional repairs, replacements that were completed by Crazy Horse School for reimbursements were completed in order to be in compliance with the school safety requirements mandated by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And whereas on April 25th, 2022, the Oglala Sioux Tribe Education Committee reviewed the issue and recommends that Tribal Council request the Bureau of Indian Education Director to work with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to get Crazy Horse School reimbursed for the additional costs of the project. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is requesting the Bureau of Indian Education Director Tony Dearman to work with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to approve and reimburse Crazy Horse School for the additional expenditures on the Crazy Horse School kitchen floor project that were not included in the original project but were required to meet Bureau of Indian Affairs standards. Certification motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? A second by Councilman Hopkins and Councilman Ironclad. Any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary, will you call the vote, please?
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Hoorah!
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Junior, James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yes.
Greg Dillon,
Yes, and my vote was yes for the last one too. I'm sorry I lost connection.
okay, thank you.
Council, that passes unanimously, 19-4-0 against. Thank you, council. Vice Chair, your next item, I think it was the last item.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is the last item. I'll go ahead. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council requesting the Bureau of Indian Education to do a letter of support for the J1 visa waivers for the foreign teachers employed in PL 100-297 tribally controlled schools. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe has adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 10th, 1935, in accordance with the Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 476, and under Article 3, subsection 1 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas the Tribal Constitution authorizes the Tribal Council in Article 4, Section 1F to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and whereas there are several teachers from foreign countries who have been employed as teachers in the PL 100-297 tribally controlled grant schools on the reservation, and whereas these specific teachers are in the United States on J1 visas from the United States Department of Labor, and some of those visas will be expiring soon, which will result in our tribal schools having vacant teaching positions, and whereas the process for these J1 visas to get extension approvals is slow, and some of their foreign teachers will not get their extensions approved in time for their upcoming school year. And whereas on April 25th, 2022, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Education Committee reviewed the issue and recommends Tribal Council request a support letter from the Bureau of Indian Education in support of the waiver. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is requesting the Bureau of Indian Education Director, Tony Dearman, to support the needs of the students on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation and do a letter of support for the J1 visa waivers for the foreign teachers employed in PL 100-297 tribally controlled schools. Certification. Motion.
Motion made by the Vice Chair. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hopkins. Any discussion on this hearing or seeing none? Secretary, call please. Thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
Yep.
Wendell Youngman Junior,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironcloud,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Council, that motion passes unanimously, 19-4-0 against. Thank you, Council. Vice Chair, is that all the items you have?
Yes. Yes. President Killer, yes. That's
Okay.
all the Education Committee has. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chairman. Appreciate your leadership and support and just bringing those issues to council. So that moves us on to, I think, is it finance? Is that where we're at? Land. Okay, land. Okay, Chairman Carlo, if you want to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, this morning I got up and I had a real bad fall, and I thought about a saying that Wesley Hawkins told me one day, and as a former champion of the Crazy Horse School Stampede, he said, there ain't a horse that can't be rode, and there ain't a cowboy that can't be throwed. So I dusted myself off this morning, and I'm here to present this resolution from the Land Committee. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe directing the Bureau of Indian Affairs to extend the deadline until May 26, 2022 for the acceptance of bids and other documents on farm pasture leases, range units, and allocated lands upon the Pine Ridge Reservation whereas the Oglala Sioux tribe adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14th, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. USC subsection 5123, and under Article 3, Oglala Sioux is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux tribe. And whereas pursuant to the Constitution and bylaws of the Oglala Sioux tribe, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council exercises legislative powers to enact and promulgate resolutions and ordinance 11th day of April 2022 to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council for their action. And whereas under Article 4, Section 1W of the Tribal Constitution, the Tribal Council is empowered to protect and promote the general welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is aware of numerous individuals who have attempted to submit or file with the Pine Ridge Agency of the Bureau of Indian Affairs bids and other pertinent documents related to range pasture leases, range units, and allocated land issues, but because of their locked door policy have been unable to do so. And whereas the Oglala have the option of mailing the documents, but feel more confident bids, farm pasture leases, range units, and allocated land issues should be extended until May 26, 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, based upon the recommendations of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Land and Natural Resource Committee, does hereby direct the Pine Ridge Agency of the Bureau of Indian Affairs to extend the deadline for receipts of all bids, farm pasture leases, range units, and allocated land issues until May 26th. Be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council authorize the president, or in his absence, the vice president, to sign this resolution. Certification, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, is there a second by Councilman Hall and Councilman Canoyer Jr.? Second. Any discussion on this?
I have a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Councilwoman. Sorry, I'm away from the screen, so
That's fine. Chair of Land Committee, Mike, can you kind of give a explanation as to why? Because, I think that some of the people want to hear as to the reason why for the extension. If you can just kind of give them something.
In the committee, this was brought up by Mr. Craig Dillon because of the individuals that are in his district that were calling, complaining that they were unable to go into the Bureau of Indian Affairs, hand deliver these documents, ask questions with regard to the application process, and the numerous calls that I myself as Land Committee Chairman got. It was in the best interest, we felt, that we extend this date for all tribal members so that they could get all their documentation submitted directly, hand delivered to the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Thank you for that, because I really got concerns from the public as well. Like, I got a phone call this morning saying, when is BIA gonna open? Because they want to physically go in and get their paperwork done. As we did experience in the past year on our residential leases that were misplaced or not available for approval. So I think that we need to also, after this, Chair, I think we should make a motion that we, ask or not, or deem BIA to start opening their doors now.
Yeah.
Well, it was under my understanding that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday was the days that you would be able to access departments in the BIA building. And I had a lady that went over there on Monday and said she couldn't get in. She called all the numbers that are on the door and no one answered her phone call. So I do believe that, you know, I don't know if the superintendent's on, but we need to address, you know, individuals being able to access departments within the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Thank you, Councilman Knoyer, Councilman, Chairman Carlo, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Carlo. Too many C's, and Councilwoman Sears, I do agree that, you know, we need to get those buildings open. Also, our tribal building, we're almost in the green, so we need to seriously
Yes.
consider that, you know, so, and yeah, and mostly everybody's vaccinated. We could have a vaccination card shown at the door to get into the tribal building. I mean, that's easy enough. So, but Valentina, did you have a question?
No, I do not.
Okay, I heard you. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I got Councilman Yellowboy, and then Councilwoman Spotted Bear, and Miss Janice. Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, and I was just conferring here with Councilman Watkins here. I attended a land meeting, and I don't sit on land. I attended a meeting up there where with the superintendent, or not the superintendent, the area director, and he came back with, and this was the biggest, you know, thing that a lot of the council members that were there, and Sonia was there at that same meeting, and it was a question of when the building was going to be open. Because I think we're running into the problem of nobody's answering the phones, and I voiced my concern to the area director at that meeting as well. As a lot of people are calling us, asking us why BIA isn't open, why their land leases are taking a long time to get through. And at that time, the area director gave us a schedule. He said that the schedule was going to be forthcoming, and to this day, I haven't seen that schedule. And I believe at that meeting, there was a motion taken to have a vote of no confidence within the area director. And so, you know, I think at our next council meeting or even today, we need to reaffirm that no confidence. You know, he's been sitting there telling us all this stuff, but nothing's been done. And we also made a motion to have the superintendent removed from our area. And that hasn't been done either. So, you know, a lot of this stuff needs to be addressed, and especially with opening that building. Our members are frustrated. Our people who are trying to do their business are frustrated because that building isn't open. So I think we need to, you know, have that schedule like he promised us. He said he was going to get it to us, and I haven't seen it yet. So I think maybe we need to draft a letter as well and ask for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Spotted Bear.
Thank you, President. So that's the same concern that I'm going to bring up, is that we have leasing issues and we didn't get a response for that. And that's something that I have been pushing, because land exchange and lease applications should not take more than, at a max, 3 months to get processed, but they're sitting at 3 years to get processed. And we're losing our relatives who want to come home and who want to live here, because again, they're losing out on funding options and opportunities to live here. So I'd like to hear from the superintendent or who is present, if there was an update to getting some assistance to help with that in the realty office.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Janice, did you have your hand up?
Chair, BIA does have a spot on the agenda on number 23. Can we just address these then?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Councilman Jumping Eagle. So we could put all these concerns and issues there, so that'd be good. But it is a good discussion, so I appreciate it. Is there further questions on the item that Chairman Carlo presented? Hearing none, Secretary, would call the vote, please, on that. Thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh,
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Junior,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior, Garfield Still, Garfield Still, Craig Dillon,
You betcha.
Council, that motion passes 18-4 and one not voting. Thank you, council. So I think Chairman Carlo, your items are finished.
That's it for the land committee, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the council for supporting that resolution.
Thank you, Chairman, appreciate it. Moving on to HHS, Chairman Jumping Eagle.
Thank you, Chair. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council approving the contract with Doug O'Brien Contracting for construction of the Pine Ridge Sewer Lining Phase 2 on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is organized in accordance with Section 616 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934 on December 14th, 1935, 25 USC 5123 by adopting a federally approved constitution and bylaws. And under Article 3 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Constitution, the Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas the Tribal Constitution authorizes the Tribal Council in Article 4, Section 1A to negotiate with the federal government on behalf of the tribe, and Section 1F to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the tribe, and Section 1G to appropriate for public purposes of the tribe any available Tribal Council funds, and in Section 1W to protect and promote the health and general welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas under the terms of a memorandum of agreement, MOA, between the tribe and the Indian Health Service, bids were sought for the construction of the Pine Ridge Sewer Lining Phase 2 on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas in the bid letting and evaluation conducted under the MOA and involving the Tribal Water and Sewer Program and the Indian Health Service, 2 bids were received with the low apparent bid submitted by Doug O'Brien Contracting. And whereas on the 19th of April, 2022, the Health and Human Resources Committee of the Tribal Council met and voted to forward the final approval of the contract with Doug O'Brien Contracting on the Food Tribal Council. I think that should say Health and Human Services Committee. And whereas the Tribal Council has considered the matter and determined that it is in the best interest of the tribe and its members to approve the contract with Doug O'Brien Contracting for the construction of the Pine Ridge Sewer Lining Phase 2. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe does hereby approve the contract with Doug O'Brien Contracting for the construction of the Pine Ridge Sewer Lining Phase 2 in the amount of $3,997,842.14. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council understands that in the event Doug O'Brien Contracting does not obtain adequate bonding as required by the project within 10 days of receipt of notice of this approval, the project will be rebid. And be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal President, or in his absence, the Vice President, is hereby authorized to sign any documents necessary to execute this contract.
There's a motion, okay, motion by Chairman Jumping Eagle, second by Councilwoman Whitehorse. Any discussion on this? Hearing or seeing none, Secretary, call the vote, please. Thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh,
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Junior,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes, thanks. I guess you didn't hear me. Sorry.
thank you. And Garfield Still,
Council passes 18 yes, one not voting. Thank you, Chairman Jumping Eagle. Appreciate your support with this. Vice Chair Youngman, do you want to present the item that was from yesterday?
Thank you, Chair.
No, we didn't. We just, we need a motion. I think we need to read it and then a motion and then just
Okay.
if there's any questions.
And according to the agenda, this was,
And then did everybody get a
10A.
copy of it? That's the thing. Did everybody get a copy of it?
10A? Yeah,
This is
the
from
one
EB&D.
for Prairie Winds Casino.
For Prairie Wind Casino? Making sure everybody gets a copy.
Okay, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe authorizing and approving the submission of the financial statements with auditors, reports, and management letter for the Prairie Wind Casino and East Wind Casino, and the agreed upon procedures report detailing compliance with the minimum internal control standards for the Class 2 gaming at East Wind Casino to the National Indian Gaming Commission on or before April 30th, 2022. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123, and under Article 3 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribe Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas Article 4, Section 1F of the Constitution of the Oglala Sioux Tribe authorizes the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Whereas pursuant to such authority, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council established the Prairie Wind Casino, which offers Class 3 gaming, and East Wind Casino, which offers Class 2 gaming, as enterprises of the tribe. And whereas the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, IGRA, requires an annual audit of each gaming operation and requires that a copy of the results of the annual audit be submitted to the NIGC 25 U.S.C. subsection 2710B 2C, and whereas the National Indian Gaming Commission, NIGC regulations define gaming operation as each economic entity that is licensed by the tribe, operates the games, receives the revenues, issues the prizes, and pays the expenses. 25 CFR subsection 502.10. And whereas NIGC regulations require that a tribe engage an independent certified public accountant to provide annual independent audits of the financial statements of each gaming operation located on Indian lands for each fiscal year. 25 CFR subsection 571.12B. And whereas the NIGC regulations further require a tribe to submit a copy of the financial statements and audit reports with any management letters and other documents, report setting forth the results of the annual audit to the NIGC within 120 days after the end of each gaming operations fiscal year. 25 CFR subsection 57.13. And whereas the NIGC regulations also require a tribe to submit within 120 days after the end of the fiscal year and agreed upon procedures, AUP report for each Class 2 operation, 25 CFR subsection 543.23D, and the AUP report must detail the state of compliance with Class 2 minimum internal control standards, MICS. And whereas the tribe's gaming ordinance 14-41, section 9D, approved by the NIGC chairman on December 15, 2014, as amended by ordinance 1501 on January 30th, 2015, ordinance 15-12, July 2015, and ordinance 16-6, March 10, 2016, provides that copies of the annual audit of each licensed gaming operation shall be furnished to the NIGC within 120 days after the end of each fiscal year of the gaming operation. And whereas the Economic and Business Development Committee met on April 15, 2022 to receive the financial statements with auditor's report, management letter for the Prairie Wind Casino and the East Wind Casino, and the AUP report detailing compliance with the MICS for the Class 2 gaming at East Wind Casino from the Independent Certified Public Accounts at Moss Adams LLP, and recommends approval by the Tribal Council and submission to the NIGC on or before April 30th, 2022. And whereas the East Wind Casino Acting General Manager is actively working on addressing the audit findings for the East Wind Casino, and whereas the Tribal Council finds that it is in the best interest of the tribe and its members to accept the recommendation of the Economic and Business Development Committee. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby authorizes and approves the submission of the financial statements with auditors' reports and management letter for the Prairie Wind Casino and East Wind Casino, and the AUP report compliance with the MICS for the Class 2 gaming at East Wind Casino to the NIG on or before April 30th. Certification, motion.
Motion made, seconded by Councilman Carlo. Motion by Vice Chair Youngman. Is there any discussion on this item? Oh, Secretary.
Just to keep it consistent, I'll have my staff insert the day in July that it was passed, that particular ordinance number 1512, because you have all the other dates, with the other ordinances, so.
Okay, and there's a typo up there in the first heading for standards.
Okay. I see it. We'll get that corrected also.
Further questions, seeing or hearing none online or in person? Secretary, would you call the vote, please?
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha,
Jackie Sears,
Oha,
Michael Carlo Sr.,
Yes.
Bernardo Enriquez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Not voting.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Council passes 18 yes, one not voting. Thank you, council, and thank you, Wendell Youngman, Vice Chair, EB&D.
Thank you, Chair. That's all EPD has.
So I think we're finished, correct, with the, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry. Okay, go ahead, Chairwoman Whitehorse, so.
Actually, I got a text from, the secretary and the attorney. And, one of the items I will be moved to your agenda. And J, they're bringing copies out because it's pretty big.
Oh, it's pretty thick, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I got several items in my report. I had the written report, I think I emailed it out, but they're getting it printed. So, Mr. Poolier, wanted to present to everybody about his award and accomplishment, and I thought it would be good for council to hear, but he also has a request. Usually it goes through finance, but I think it's kind of urgent, so that's why I brought it here today under my report. And then there's a individual running in Nevada. She's a Oglala tribal member. Her name's Mercedes Krause, and she's running for Congress, but she wanted to visit with council and hopefully get an endorsement. So she's going to be jumping on. And I think there's the spectrum issue that's going to be under my report too. And then also the other item from finance, which is a aid to tribal government budget. So, so I got kind of a few more items, but, so if we go with Mr. Poolier first, is that okay? And then we'll come back to your items, council, Chairwoman. Yeah, when they bring them out, okay. Mr. Poolier, do you want to pass out but also just show off the piece that you have and kind of talk about it and share? Cool. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Kevin Poolier. I'm from Medicine Root District. I live north of Kyle, about 20 miles on the old bombing range. Some of you may know my dad, Sonny Poolier. But I've been a practicing artist here on the reservation now for 30 years. And I've worked my way up to the top of the native art world with winning awards and getting recognition for my work with buffalo horn. I'm the only artist in the whole country who does work with buffalo horn. And I do a lot of my work is political. It addresses land loss, identity, all issues that we have in Indian country. And that's what's garnered a lot of my attention is that it's educational, it brings awareness and healing. And anyway, a few years ago, I created a buffalo horn belt with, it was during the Me Too movement, and it had, it was honoring women. And I did portraits of 8 women from our community and from around the country. And it won Best in Show at the Santa Fe Indian Market, which no Lakota's ever won before. Listen here. And so it was really a big honor for a Lakota to win this largest art show in the country. My picture was blasted in Times Square, and the National Museum of the American Indian purchased the belt for, it's on the main floor on display. And so I created a sister belt for that piece of women politicians, and it was about finding their voices, and it's all portraits. I asked each of these women, and their designs are designs that they picked. Madam Secretary of the Interior, Deborah Holland's one of them. Prairie Poolier, Red Dawn Foster, Peggy Flanagan, Sharice Davids, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Ruth Buffalo from North Dakota. And so anyway, I have 3 pieces of artwork in the National Museum of the American Indian, and I was I have last in 2020 there was the Smithsonian's American Art Museum approached me and purchased another one of my pieces, and this is a museum that doesn't have generally known for having native art. And so on the May 13th, they're having a 50th anniversary opening. First Lady Jill Biden's going to be there. The new Supreme Court Justice Judge Jackson's going to be there. She was invited, and I'm trying to arrange a meeting with AOC to show her portrait on the belt, and it's just a really good representation for, I think, for our Pine Ridge. And I've been looking at the travel arrangements, and it's kind of expensive this year for travel. We were kind of hit hard by COVID with our art shows shutting down for a whole year. And I could really use some help for travel to attend this event and hopefully represent the Oglala Nation. And I'd really appreciate if you'd all consider giving me a hand to make it to DC.
Thank you, Mr. Prairie. I appreciate, just your amazing pieces that you're sharing all the time. How long did it take you to do?
For the portrait belt, it took forever to get their permission. I mean, some of these people are pretty important people in DC, and I asked permission to do this, and that took probably 4 months. And these are all inlaid. They're painted on buffalo horn. They're inlaid with stones and shells, and I've won every major award in the country. I've showed in Paris, the Royal Museum of Scotland, New York, the Met in New York City, and I've really brought a lot of attention to Pine Ridge because there's really no art represented from this area. There's only a couple of artists that get out in the country and show our works.
Thank you. Councilman Watkins?
I'll make a motion that we find some money there and help out Mr. Poolier so he could get to that.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston and Councilman Ironclad, and Councilman Jumping Eagle. Seconded. Is there further questions? Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Throw my name on. Throw my name on as second.
Okay, we will.
Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank you for coming, as one of our tribal members that, was coming to the tribal council to request for support and help. Those are some very beautiful work that you have done. And I think that, I think a lot of our younger generation, we have a lot of that, I think that you can really help and show your work. And I do have a granddaughter that is a young artist, and hers is painting. And so we're really encouraging her to move forward in her talent. So I just want to say thank you. That is such beautiful work that you have done. And I just really think that the tribe, when we say find the money, I think that, I don't know, our finance chair is sitting here. Cora, we have finance tomorrow. Could we maybe forward that to finance and see if we can get him some help?
It doesn't have to go to finance.
Could we
If
just do it
comes
here?
from Council, because council is above finance.
Okay, so could we just give the amount now so that he knows what we're gonna help, if we're gonna go with the full amount? Yeah, the full amount,
Do
out
you,
of general fund?
I do have one question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Are your travel arrangements already made, or can you go through our travel office? Because we might be able to get a better price.
Well, the
Okay. Additional questions, Jerome?
Can you add from honorarium to your motion?
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions? Oh, sorry, Councilman Carlo. Yes, sir.
In the beginning of your presentation, you brought up the name Sonny Poolier, and I don't know if I can support this. But all joking aside, the exhibits that you showed us here today, I mean, those are exceptional. And, I don't know if there's a reason why that there's a scarce amount of buffalo anymore. You must be getting a lot of buffalo. So you're taking the horns, huh?
I always said that at night we sneak up on them and the horns screw off like light bulbs.
But yeah, I fully support the endeavor that you're doing and the support of the tribal council.
Well, thank
Additional questions for Mr. Poirier? Seeing none.
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh,
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Junior,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironcloud,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha,
Jackie Sears, Jackie Sears, Michael Carlo Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Voting.
Craig Dillon, Craig Dillon,
Okay, thank you. Thank you, council. Yeah, no, it's just important that, we share and you think about like these pieces of art, they went all over the world in their representation of Lakota culture. That's one of the biggest things that when people come to the state of South Dakota, they always ask about, not really South Dakota, they ask about Native people from all over the world. And when they come and tour here, it's really important that we continue to support amazing things like this, and you see like that the level that you're able to get to if you commit to what you're doing. So, but again, thank you, council, for doing that. I got my report out. Are there any questions? I think it was passed out. That's that. But I think, are we ready to move on to Spectrum right now? Okay. So I think Kim Clausen was supposed to kind of lead some of that Spectrum conversation. I'm not sure Jennifer's on. Hold on. Yeah, is Jennifer on? Okay, let me text them, so. Okay, and then the Mercedes Kraus is gonna be on at 11:25. So she'll be on at 11:25, so, I'm sorry.
Past 25.
No, well, she's on Pacific time, sorry, I forgot to say that, so, so she'll be jumping on here shortly. Let me, text Jennifer, hold on, give me one quick second. Okay, there's a motion to approve the written report, this is seconded by Councilman Jumping Eagle. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, Secretary, call the vote, please.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh,
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh,
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Junior,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy, Wyndham Youngman Junior,
yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Huh?
Jackie Sears,
Not voting, I missed the conversation.
Michael Carlos Senior,
yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Junior,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
No.
Craig Dillon, Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Got 14 yes, 1 no, and 3 not voting. Thank you, council. Again, I always appreciate working with all you. You know, it's a good thing, and you know, just look forward to keep moving forward in a good way. So with that, I think Mercedes Kraus is on, I want to say. Okay, Mercedes, can you hear us?
Yes,
Mercedes,
I
are
am
you there?
able to hear you. I'm here.
Yeah. No, I didn't text her yet.
Okay. Mercedes, do you want to share it? Will you be quiet, please? Mercedes, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. So you have the floor right now. Do you want to present a little bit about, you know, your candidacy and your background, your family, and just council might have some questions for you, and then just about your running in. Thank you.
Okay, definitely. My name is Mercedes Kraus. I am an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux Nation, proudly, and a descendant of the Santee Nation. My family name is Tuttle, and I'm related to the Coonies and the Rosses. They're in Porcupine. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, and just a long story short, my grandmother Lillian, during relocation, ended up in San Francisco where my mother was born. She was adopted out, and really no one knew about her until about couple decades ago. But I knew where I came from, and I made relationships in my urban Native community here. And actually, that's what helped me find my relatives. I have a brother here named Joby Stans, and he gave me a phone book, and I started calling, and I found my relatives. And I've been coming back home, you know, for Sundance and such for, say, about 10 years now. But again, I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been a very active member of my community with my union. I'm an educator for over 20 years. I'm a graduate of Emerge Nevada, which is to help women and particularly women of color to step into leadership positions in the community and into the political arena. And I'm very proud that I was also a part of the first group of the Advanced Native Leadership Program. And, you know, I have said that that's what really helped me make the difference to, you know, doing activism work to stepping into this role in running for a congressional seat. The fact that, you know what, we don't have to learn how to squeeze into some mold and play a game. We can bring our understanding and we can change the system because, you know, I didn't participate for a long time because I didn't think that it was fair and I didn't think it was listening. But I really do believe in that power that we have if we come together for change. The area that I'm running for, Congressional District 2, has 18 of Nevada's 27 tribal communities. You know, there are a lot of issues. We live in a desert. Water is a very important issue. And of course, the tribal communities here, they're first in time and first in right for that water. And, you know, the relationships are starting to be established, but still, I can't tell you how many rooms that I go into with educated people, you know, even I would say people who they say they care and they do care about tribal community issues. They do not understand what tribal sovereignty is and the nation to nation status. So that is one of my major campaign platforms that I'm focusing on. Again, there are 18 out of 27 of the tribal communities are in that congressional district. I'm an educator, so of course, I don't know if you've heard of Nevada's statistics. You wouldn't believe it with all of our mining and gaming money, but we're 50th in the nation in students. I think it was student spending, and then for student achievement, we're 48th in the nation. It makes no sense. So as an educator, I have some student-focused ways to help with this. I do care about the environment. One of the major things as a single mother, though, I'm concerned about is the ability of everyone to have a dignified life. There are working people who are not making enough to have a clean, safe, one-bedroom home. It's not fair. It's not just. So I'm very pro-union. Yeah. Are there any questions that you have for me specifically? Maybe I can turn it to that.
Councilman Ironclad?
I just wanted to say that I'm related to the Tuttles over in Porcupine.
Okay.
My Aunt Lillian and Uncle Dave and their family. And so I was just wanted to say that much. And I know that Nevada has a lot of issues on education. I know that I've seen a lot of headlines, you know, about students fighting and stuff like that in the classrooms, and it's really rough over there. So I was just thinking about that when I was sitting here listening to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It is very serious, and teacher safety. And again, I just, you know, it's hard for all of us to wrap our heads around being from such a prosperous state that we're having these issues.
Are there additional questions for Ms. Kraus? Councilman Crowe?
My question is this, would you want the tribe to do a motion in supporting your candidacy? Would that have any type of leverage, or would that assist you in any manner?
That would give me the greatest pride. I feel emotion even thinking about it. I thank you so much for asking. That is my hope, that, you know, I can show that I have the endorsement of my own tribal community as I go forward with my work here and my election. My goal is, let me rewind a little bit. I was actually a part of the last election cycle, get out the vote work. Here in Nevada, just like all over the country, we partnered with Native Organizers Alliance. And here in Southern Nevada, I worked with the Las Vegas Paiute tribe and the sorry, one of my students just walked in, the Moapa Band of Paiutes. But we had weekly meetings with all of the other leaders that were working with the other tribal communities. And, you know, they have not, I think they're afraid to release the numbers. We haven't seen the exact numbers, but we made a huge difference in the elections this year. I'm also the chair of our Nevada Native American Democratic Caucus. And how this started, we set 3 goals as the time for filing began. Number 1, to get more Native candidates on the ballot. Number 2, to get our platform issues out and into the ears and brains and mouths of all of the candidates and citizens of Nevada. And number 3, activate the Native vote. We've already had, as I said, some experience. I've had some experience with that last year, and this was another step into that. So I would be so proud. This would be at the very front page of my campaign materials, is if I would humbly ask if I could have the endorsement of my tribal council.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Councilman, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the chairman write a letter of support in Miss Mercedes Krause's candidacy and that the Oglala Sioux tribe fully backs her.
Okay, motion seconded by Councilman Ironclad, Councilwoman Whitehorse, Councilman Rodriguez. Further questions? Did you have a question, Councilwoman? Wait a second, okay. Yeah, we could include that motion in the letter, so, yeah, we'll include that. Okay. Is there, seeing no further questions online or in person, Secretary, will you call the vote on endorsing Ms. Krause? This is candidacy for Congress.
Yeah, she's a mess. Yeah, her dad,
What's her name?
Sean.
What's her name?
She was a funny name. She's working for Sean Richards, but she went to jail for weeks.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior. Ryan,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr., Garfield Steele,
Not voting.
Craig Dillon,
Yeah.
Craig Dillon,
Okay.
he's not on. If I can advise you, if you're on Zoom, to please mute your mics when you're not talking, because
Tom
interfering with our
Casey,
recording.
Kim Clausen.
Thank you.
Jerry G.
I did it on the screen.
Council, that passes 16-4-0 against. Councilwoman?
I just have a question if we're done with that part.
Hold on, Councilwoman. Ms. Kraus, so we'll get you that letter, and then again, thank you for coming. And I did meet Ms. Kraus actually on one of our trips, I think, that we had to Nevada, and that's how we met. So again, it's important that we take these trips and utilize the travel funds that we have to meet our tribal members that are in other places and other states, and this would never happen. So so again, congratulations, Ms. Kraus. I appreciate your candidacy and representing our nation, especially in running in such a prominent seat. And we'll follow up, and we'll get that letter to you. So, and I'll text you later. So.
Thank you so much. And I would like to echo that, there are so many times, I don't know if you have seen, but according to our last census, Clark County, Nevada has the largest growth in urban Native population in the whole United States. There are so many of us out here that we need the support of our tribes for these education matters, for other matters. So I hope that we can continue to grow a relationship, and I hope that we can see how we can connect with our other tribal members here in Nevada. And I mean, there's so much work to be done, and we do it together. So I am so thankful, and I really look forward to meeting all of you and getting to know you more. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kraus. Councilwoman Whitehorse.
Thank you. I just had a question. I guess it's for Daryl. When will Narf be able to make a presentation?
Narf is actually can present. She's just ready to whenever you guys are ready. So
Can we set that up sometime?
Yeah. So I know that Jennifer is on now, and she did ask to go into executive over that spectrum issue. So we'll have to do that, and then maybe after we get done with the NARF, the spectrum conversation, then we go into NARF, and then we could do lunch. I guess that should be because lunch will be at 1:30. So okay with that. So is there a motion to go into executive?
Second.
Motion by Councilman, seconded by Councilman Youngman. Okay, Councilman Yellow Boy, motion. He's a decoy over there, so. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Secretary, we call the vote to inspection.
Wesley Hawkins Senior,
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
How?
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
James Cross,
No.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironcloud,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Jackie Sears,
Here.
Michael Carlo Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
No.
Craig Dillon,
Okay, thank you. 14 yes, 3 no, we're not voting. And again, I just want to remind the public that the reason we're doing an executive session is that our legal counsel advises us to do this, and to protect secrets, but also to protect, some of the legal advice that's been given, and to protect our position on some of these issues. So, so I just want to make sure that that's clear, especially if it's under my agenda. So that I just want to make sure people know that. So again, thank you. We'll go into executive, and we're also, I think they wanted to handle the NARF issue in executive, just FYI, because it's dealing with a legal case. So if that's okay with everybody, we'll do that there. Okay, thank you. So we'll go into executive at 12:37.